In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you some affordable products that I think are dupes for Victoria Beckham and some other high-end brands, as well as some new affordable products that I think you'll love. Oh, and hello and welcome to Beauty by Des, or welcome back. So a few weeks ago, I did a whole video dedicated to Victoria Beckham products, and I know that they are super expensive and outside many people's budgets. So I thought it would be fun to try and find some affordable dupes, and I think I have. So let's start straight away with the Victoria Beckham eye stick in Schroom. Now this is an incredibly popular eye stick. I absolutely love it. So what I'm going to do is swatch this for you and show you a couple of dupes. Now this is a really good long wearing eye stick. Schroom is a kind of a good universal colour, I would say. There it is. It's, well, short for mushroom, I guess. And I would say it suits most colourings. It's nice and neutral, easy to wear, long lasting, and a really great kind of one and done eye stick. However, it does cost a lot of money. I think it's around £20 to £30. All the products that I talk about, both high-end and affordable, will be listed and linked in the description box below this video in the show more section, but it would also be in a pinned comment at the top. So when you look at the comments, everything will be listed there as well. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of equivalents that I think are really good, and they're by Kiko Milano, and they're about, I would say, half price or maybe even a bit less than the Victoria Beckhams. And I've got two shades, 15 and 19. So let's do 15 first. This is 15 here. Now, not a lot to choose between them, is there really? And this is 19. So this is a little bit darker. So it's not quite the same as Schroom, I agree, but it's a very similar consistency. Now, granted, this is very dark, but you can sheer it out. And I'm just going to rub them for you a little bit. They are all really long lasting. The Kikos are just as long lasting as the Victoria Beckhams, but you can see they're not really going anywhere. Once they're on, you need to move quickly if you want to sheer them out. But really, can you see they're not that dissimilar? They're not the same, I grant you, but they are very, very similar. And if you don't want to pay an incredibly high-end price for a product that, okay, the shade isn't identical, but the coverage and the longevity and the consistency is the same, then you can't really go wrong with those Kiko Milano, what are they called? Then you can't really go wrong with the Kiko Milano eye sticks, I would say. Now, another really popular product by Victoria Beckham is her Satin Kajal pencils. And I think I've found a dupe for this particular shade, which is the Smokey Quartz. Now, this is the Smokey Quartz pencil. And it's kind of in the same vein as the, literally and metaphorically, with the eye stick. It's got that sort of lustre-y feel to it, hasn't it? That those sort of golden flecks in it. So that's the Satin Kajal pencil by Victoria Beckham in Smokey Quartz. And we have two Kiko Milano pencils. And by the way, this is not sponsored by Kiko Milano at all. Now, I have got other brands as well to talk about, but it just so happens that Kiko Milano do have some dupes of Victoria Beckham. I don't know whether they've been shadowing her at all, but they seem to. And this one's the limited precision automatic pencil, and it's in the shade 14. Now, this is a retractable pencil, and this is 14. Oh, you always have to be careful with these. Now, that's the only snag. It's because I put too much of the tip out. I think it's now bent a bit. But can you see that? It's really very similar, isn't it? Wouldn't you say? I've now messed that up a bit. So, oops. You do have to just let a little bit of the tip come out. Let me just do that again. Oops, there we go. There's not a lot to choose between the two, is there really? And there's a little sponge at the other end of this pencil that you can sheer the colour out with, just like there is on the Victoria Beckham. And then we've also got by Kiko Milano the Smart Colour Eye Pencil, which I think is quite a similar shade. Let me show you. Oh dear, they're all breaking. I don't know if it's because I'm pressing too hard. But there, look at that. I mean, if you look at those colours, all of them, all those shades, they really do look very similar, don't they? So that was the So that was the Victoria Beckham, and these two are the Kiko Milano. Now the lesson learnt here is don't press too hard, and particularly in the mechanical pencils, don't let too much of the product come out of the top, otherwise they do break. That hasn't happened to me with the Victoria Beckham, I have to say, but you do have to be careful if you're using the Kiko Milano products. But I think that's pretty good. This doesn't have a spongy thing at the end, it's just a pencil. And I've also got a L'Oreal pencil, which I think is a bit similar. It's not quite the same, but it is the L'Oreal Infallible pencil in bronze Expresso. And that also has a sponge actually at the other end. Right, let's be very, very careful and not overdo and not wind this up too much. So this is the L'Oreal. So it's a lighter colour. So it's a kind of warmer brown, but again, it's not that dissimilar. We're all in the same ballpark here, aren't we? It's maybe a little more matte. So I guess if you wanted to use this as an eyeliner, you could put a little topper on the top to give it a bit of sparkle. But I think it's a really good pencil, and the application feels solid. It doesn't feel too thin or anything. And I also like the fact that you've got a lot of pigment going on there. So I think that's a good quality pencil for the price. In fact, it's cheaper than I think it's cheaper than the Kiko Milano. Let's see what happens if we shear it out a bit. The thing is, these are so quick to dry that actually you do need to move really quickly with your sponge if you want to shear the colours out. So there, I think that's a pretty good range of high-end and dupes. Now the next dupe I've found is for the Victoria Beckham Baby Blade Eyebrow Pencil. Now this is a very fine pencil. It has a spoolie on one end and a retractable pencil on the other. And as we know, we do have to be very careful. We're just going to turn this up a tiny bit. I don't know even if you'll be able to see that, but that's what we're going to do, just a tiny bit to see. And it is very fine. And I suppose the idea is it's very fine because that's how you want to be doing your brows. Well, probably not as thick as that, but that is the Baby Blade in the shade Light Brown. Now, let me show you. Now, before I show you that, I forgot, we're actually duping the Laura Mercier eyebrow pencil as well, because that is actually my favourite. I prefer it over the Victoria Beckham. This is just a regular pencil that you sharpen. And this is it here. I have it in the shade, what have I got it in? Blonde. Not exactly sure why they think that's called blonde, but anyway, those are the two shades I have in the high-end pencil. So we've got Laura Mercier, we've got Victoria Beckham, and now we have a Kiko Milano pencil, funnily enough, which again has the spoolie at one end and the retractable, and we're going to again be very careful and just put a tiny little tip at the top there. And let me show you that. And this is in the shade, what shade is this in? It's 01, which I suppose must be their equivalent of blonde. Now, in a way, I prefer this shade because it is lighter. So, okay, let's be honest, it's not exactly a dupe in the colour department, but I think it's a really good pencil. And if you want a lighter brow, which I am leaning towards given I've lightened my hair now, I do think that is a good pencil. And you can see it's come out pretty well. You can see it on my arm. I know it can be tricky when you're applying your brows. Now, I have got this on today, by the way. In fact, all the makeup I've talked about, all the dupes I am actually wearing today, and I will talk you through that at the end. But I know this can be more tricky to apply on the skin underneath your brows because somehow you don't seem to get as much purchase on that part of your skin as you do on your forearm. I don't know why quite, but you can get it, and that's what I'm wearing today. So I do think it is a good pencil. And the next product that I want to talk about is for the Victoria Beckham Lid Lustre. Now, many of you love this product and I love it as well. It comes in a beautiful case, very heavy, and it has an extra little lid there to protect it, and it is a fantastic shade. So let me show you this first. Look at that beautiful shade. Oh my goodness, it's absolutely stunning. And there it is, look at that. Again, it's got those gold flecks in it. And I would say that's a beautiful evening wear shadow. However, if you don't want to spend the 30 odd quid that it costs to buy, you can get one of these Kiko Milano shadows. Now, I've actually got them in 3 shades, and I've got one that's similar to the lid Lustre, which is in Mink, by the way, but I've also got this shade, which is beautiful, and I'll show you that in a sec. But let me show you the ones that I think are dupes-ish, if you like, for the lid Lustre in Mink. So firstly, there's this one in the shade 15. Now, it's true that it doesn't have quite the same texture. This has got more texture, hasn't it? But it is still a beautiful shade. But we've also got this one in 6, and let me show you that. Now, I know neither of them are quite as dark as this, but when you look at the range of colours here and you think about if you really wanted to get this colour, you could probably mix one of these eye sticks. I mean, look, because I think if you wanted to achieve this shade, you could probably mix 19 from Kiko. Let's just give it a go for fun, see if we can. That's 19. And if you mix that with this one, number 6, let's just try that for fun. Can you see? It's quite similar, isn't it? I mean, I know that's buying 2 shades and it's kind of defeating the object, but you see what I mean? I really do think that this range of shades shows you that you don't need to spend an arm and a leg, so to speak, on Victoria Beckham if you don't want to, and you can get similar effects, if not the same, from buying a Kiko Milano or even a L'Oreal pencil. And before we leave the lid Lustre dupe, I do think this shade is absolutely stunning. I think there is a similar shade in Victoria Beckham's products, and I'll put it on the screen if there is. I just fell in love with this shade. I mean, look at that. That's number... what number is that? That's number 12. I mean, actually, interestingly, that's come out quite brown on my arm, whereas I would have thought that this shade would be more purpley. Let's just put it somewhere else as well. And they feel so lovely, these Kiko Milanos. They'd feel just as luxurious as the Victoria Beckhams. There it is there. So what do we think so far? Let me know in the comments. Oh, and I should just mention today, I am actually wearing this one. This is the, I didn't give you the name of the Kiko Milanos. I will put them on the screen in the description box, of course. This is called the water eyeshadow because you can actually apply it wet as well. And this is the shade 06. And that's what I've got on my eyelids today, along with the L'Oreal pencil as an eyeliner. So I do think they're looking really good, and I don't think you would know that these weren't Victoria Beckham if you were looking that closely. Now, before we go on to some affordable products that I'm loving that aren't necessarily dupes, I just wanted to mention one other one, which I came upon by accident, and I have mentioned it in another video, and that is a dupe for the newly reformulated MAC lipstick in Mehr, M-E-H-R. Now, unfortunately, I can't wear this because it contains vanilla, and I'm allergic to vanilla, but it's a fantastic shade, and I used to wear it before I knew I was allergic to vanilla, which is probably why my skin became so dry. This was definitely one of my go-tos, as was, what were the other 2? There was Cream in My Coffee and Cool Teddy or something Teddy, Velvet Teddy, I think it was. But I found a dupe by accident when I was making another video a few weeks ago, and it's this one, which I've been using for ages. This is actually called Velvet, and it's by Revolution Pro, and honestly, can you tell the difference? I mean, you can slightly, but they're so similar, and this one doesn't contain fragrance and it's half the price. So if you are after a shade like this, I highly recommend. This one's called a Satin Matte. I always love that. You always think, well, hang on, how can it be satin and matte? But it really is. It feels very silky, as do the MAC. Actually, I think they might be called Satin Mattes or Silky Matte or something like that. And they are beautiful lipsticks, but sadly I can't wear them. So really recommend this Revolution Pro lipstick, and of course it's available at Amazon. Now, one of my lovely subscribers challenged me to find a lipstick that was a dupe for the Sunday matinee, and so far I haven't been able to find one, unfortunately. Now, this is Sunday matinee. It's a fantastic lipstick, and you can see it's very well used and loved by me. Let me pop it on my other hand here. But I want to just show you a couple of lipsticks that I found which are not quite the same. I admit that, but I spent quite a while in Boots and Superdrug trying to find a similar shade to this. I wasn't very successful, but I did find a couple of really lovely lipsticks that I wanted to show you anyway. And this is Smoky Rose by Maybelline. So it's a bit more pinky, it's a bit more rosy, I would say, than the Lisa Eldridge. And then this one also by Maybelline, but it's a different range. And this is a little bit warmer. So I suppose you could probably mix the two. In fact, should we do that just for fun? Because I quite like mixing lipstick. Let's just see if we can get the Sunday matinee effect if we mix the two together. I'll do it here. So let's put this one. This is the slightly warmer one. And this is the slightly cooler one. Let's just see. I didn't think of doing this before, but just a bit of fun, isn't it? Let's see what happens if we put that over the top. What do we get? Okay, so that's the two mixed together. Now let's compare it to the Sunday matinee. We'll probably get nowhere, but anyway, it's a bit of fun, isn't it? No, we're not quite there, but they are all beautiful shades, aren't they? And I won't give up on my quest to find a dupe for the Sunday matinee. Oh, and I am actually wearing this one. Am I wearing this one? Yeah. Oh, and I am actually wearing this Maybelline lipstick today. Right, let's talk about some other affordable products that I'm loving at the moment. Now, you've probably seen on YouTube over the last few weeks, lots of content creators on YouTube reviewing the Maybelline Superstay Lumi Matte Foundation. And so of course I had to pick this up. This is when I went into Superdrug about 2 or 3 weeks ago and had a ball actually, because I hadn't been into Superdrug and bought anything for ages. If I buy from Superdrug, I tend to do it online. Superdrug, I guess, is a little bit like Ulta, but it's not, but it doesn't have as many high-end products as Ulta does. Anyway, went in there and decided to buy 2 shades of the Lumi Matte Foundation because I wasn't sure which shade would suit me. To be honest, there's very little to choose between them, but I went with 118 and 128, and it's what I'm wearing on my complexion today. Let me zoom you in so you can get a good look at it. Now, what do you think of them apples? Honestly, I've used this foundation, I think 3 times this week. I hadn't tried it before this week. And I think it's fantastic. I really do. And what I really love about it is it's so quick to apply. I literally dot some on my skin, get a damp beauty sponge, pat it all over, and that's it. It takes me about 30 seconds. It just settles into my skin beautifully. And I think it's really great. Now, I mixed the 2 shades together. Let me swatch them for you. Hang on, I've got nowhere left to swatch. Let me just go and remove, let me go and remove the swatches I've got and I'll come back in a sec. That's better. Right, so this is 118. I'll put it on the back of my hand actually. And let me just show you, it's quite liquidy, but not too liquid. Not too runny. There it is, really good applicator, really solid glass bottle as well, which I like. And then this one is the 128. So I think one is very slightly warmer than the other, but there's not much to choose between them. So we've got 118 and 128. Let's just massage them in a little bit just so you can see. There we go. They are, I just think this is a fantastic foundation. Now I think this does remind me a little bit of the L'Oreal, what's it called? True Match, isn't it? It's similar, but it doesn't seem to have alcohol. It may do, I need to check the ingredients, but you don't get that smell of alcohol that you get with the L'Oreal. So I think this might replace the L'Oreal True Match in my affordable arsenal, so to speak, of foundations. I just think it's a really excellent foundation, really good coverage, almost more like a sort of a skin tint possibly, because it covers without overdoing it. It's a really light foundation and I am absolutely loving it, I must say. Now, just to finish off on the affordable products, this is a new to me concealer. Now I have been trying out concealers. I've done a video on 5 where I did a whole day wear test, and if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it down below for you. And I am going to be doing a follow-up, another 5 concealers, mixing high-end and affordable. But this is one that's going to be in that test because I haven't put it to the test yet, but I am wearing it today. And so far it's gone on well. There was maybe a tiny bit of creasing, but what I'm doing differently at the moment, and what I'm going to do differently to the previous video, is I am not powdering my under eyes. Oh, I know! It's been a bit of a revelation actually, because so far I'm really quite enjoying not powdering my under eyes. I'm finding that concealers are not settling in and not looking as cakey as they used to. So maybe this is the new way forward for me. I don't know. I'm not ruling out going back to powders. I don't know. We go in fits and starts, don't we? We try things out and we think, oh yeah, this is great. And then we go back to something else, or we try something else. It's all part of what's fun with makeup, isn't it? And enjoying using it and trialing things and all of that. Anyway, this so far is okay. It's reasonably priced. The only thing I would say about it is, as often with these affordable products, it feels quite flimsy and there's a tiny weeny doe foot, although that's not the end of the world. But it's okay, and I will be testing it on camera very soon, giving it an all-day wear test and comparing it to some other concealers. So that's another one to mention. That's the Maybelline Fit Me concealer. Now, I was a little bit dismissive of these e.l.f. liquid blushes. I did review them and say they were nice about a year ago, and then I said I wasn't using liquid blushes anymore because I found them a bit fiddly. But I've gone back to these recently when I've been trying out some drugstore products, and I do think they are lovely. And I'm wearing the warmer shade today. I'm wearing, I think this is Dusty Rose, actually. It's not that warm, but that's what I've got on today. And I do think it is nice. And I've worked out that, yes, you just do a few little dots and then you can sheer it out with a sponge, and that's absolutely fine. And as we're coming into warmer weather, and of course the sun's out today, it is quite nice not to be wearing a powder blusher, but to be wearing something liquid or cream. And I do think these are nice, and they do have good staying power. So I just wanted to mention these as well. And lastly, but not leastly, is this Paradise Big Deal Mascara from L'Oreal. Now, I've got it on today. This is only the second day I've used it. And as we know, with mascaras, you do tend to need to give them a couple of weeks rather, to get going. So on first application, okay. I think they're a bit spindly for me, but it's a nice fat tube, which I like. It's very light, but obviously that's because it's reasonably priced. It's got one of those rubbery brushes, which is okay. I suppose it's a bit like the Maybelline Sky High, but whether it's as good as the Maybelline Sky High remains to be seen. But I thought I'd give it a go today and show you what it looks like on sort of first or really second impressions. So there you have it. Those are my affordable dupes for Victoria Beckham and other high-end brands, along with some new products or new to me products that are also affordable and that I'm enjoying using. So let me know in the comments, have you tried any of these products? Did you think any of them were dupes? Or was I just clutching at straws? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. So that's it. Do subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and of course give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this video. And if you'd like to hear more from me, I have a monthly newsletter, and in that I don't just talk about beauty, but I also talk about fashion, entertainment, content creators. I've even started adding recipes and all the other bits and bobs that bring us joy. And thank you so much for watching. It means the absolute world to me. It really does. And I hope you're all doing really well, and I look forward to seeing you on my next video. Bye.